Hello, hello, Melissa.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And you're real good because you're sitting outside. I can see it. I think I can see the lake.
You can. Looks pretty nice out there. I haven't been outside yet today, but that's for post podcast.
I love it. All right. So, in fact, we kind of got things rolling for this podcast about 4 years ago in that very location, if I recall. I am Megan Holmes coming to you from just outside of St. Louis, Missouri, at my shop, the Needlepoint Clubhouse. And next to me is my pal, Melissa MacLeod, coming to you not from her shop. Where are you coming to us from, Melissa?
Normally, I would be at the Wool and the Floss in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. And I live in Michigan, so I'm not sure. Is this going to come up forwards or backwards to you?
Looks right to me. Yeah, that's Huron.
Okay,
Yep, yep,
that's
yep,
good.
yep.
I can't remember if it films backwards or not, but I'm up here right now, the very tip of the thumb, the most northern tip of the thumb. I'm lucky enough to have a lake house here, and I'm supposedly on vacation this week, but I've done a horrible job of being on vacation. But
A small business owner never sleeps, never rests.
true,
So,
true.
but so back to who we are. We are small business owners. We do both own needlepoint stores, but we also have been doing this podcast, the Pointing It Out podcast, for about a little over 4 years now. And so sometimes you see us together, sometimes you see us apart. The last time I saw you together was when we were talking about you. And now we're back together again to talk about the challenge that we created for this year, for the last 3 years. Is that what we decided?
3 years. Yeah, we didn't do it the first year because we didn't think to do that yet.
Weren't there
Well,
yet, but
okay.
we're now in our third year of creating a challenge. And do you know what? I don't even have my paper. I'm doing this off my phone, off a
I
picture on my phone.
look at my tattered, well-loved chart that's bent in every corner, pencil marks, pen marks, and yeah, I'm a very analog person. Like if I lose this, I'll be all like panicky because whatever. But I generally don't lose things. I just misplace them for a little while. So
I get you. And that's exactly what's happened to mine. It's misplaced somewhere. But what I know is that if I wanted to print another one of these, or if I were a new viewer and were interested in joining the podcast challenge, you can go to our Instagram page, Pointing It Out Podcast, Instagram. And I think there's a link tree, right, that will take them to a printable version of the challenge. It's also in our grid somewhere. I once screenshotted and just checked it off with an editing tool on my camera. But either way, we've created a challenge this year, not to intimidate, but really just to encourage and help people sort of organize their stitching thoughts and try some new things, right?
yes, and honestly, if people haven't started it yet, there's still plenty of time. This episode will drop on the 30th, I think, of August. So you still have 4 strong months, and not by design, but just kind of because it happened. I honestly think this is one of the easiest full lists we've ever done. And at the end,
Yeah,
some really great prizes. So it's
I
worth it.
forgot about that. So the idea is if you go through this list and by the honor system, if you complete each of the challenges, then you are able to throw your hat into the ring for some prizes that are all donated by industry friends. And I think there's some good stuff. And so this is also a call to those of you who have not yet donated. We're happy to accept any kind of a donation for the podcast challenge. And so there you have it. So we're here to kind of talk about our progress.
Sure. Can I pop in with one other thing?
Yeah.
Speaking of winning things, we did just complete the lottery
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Pointing It Out retreat, which will happen in April of 2025. So our roster is complete. I have 66 spaces in Detroit. So the Detroit podcast retreat is in the spring. The St. Louis podcast retreat is in the fall. And we did our lottery a little bit early this year just so people could make their travel plans a little bit easier and all that. And we had over 500 people that applied. Can you believe it?
Amazing. I love it.
So I love it, but I hate it. Like I kind of wish only 66 people would apply so I didn't have to disappoint anyone. But I think I counted, I think 56 of the 66 have never been to our retreat before, and this is the fourth year. So
Wow. I
it's a
love
lot
that.
a lot of new faces, and it's the luck of the draw. So, yeah, so I just wanted to say I'm excited about it. I'm sorry for any disappointment that may have been caused, but also keep in mind, inevitably, some plans will change between now and April, so we still may have a few spots opening up. So
Yeah, and
we,
you know, can we just sit on this for a hot second? I know that this isn't what we're here to talk about, but and my pal Ann Fisher, our industry friend Ann Fisher, the other day, what was on Instagram talking about trying to compile a list of opportunities for people to get together. And so I really hope, well, first two things. Now that we're out and about in the world, I mean, retreats were a little bit kind of on pause for at least a year and a half, I'd say. And then we just started busting out and getting together again. And so there are so many opportunities to get out and meet new stitching friends. In fact, we're going to talk about that for in a minute. And maybe that's
yeah,
even a segue for us. But
I'm right there with you.
yeah, I just think that what Anne's going to try to do, I think, is a monumental task, which is to try to compile a list of some of the more well-known retreats, I think. But then what she's also trying to do is reach out to people and say, hey, what are you doing at your store? Or what are the stitch clubs doing? And where are people getting together? Because by and large, this community is very welcoming, and you can go to any retreat and find some new friends or even some faces that you recognize from the Instagram community. So I think it's just important for people to not get discouraged if they don't get into one retreat. In fact, we're going to start running just about every opportunity here at our store. We've decided to run almost everything by a lottery. National teachers, because that's the only fair way. It's truly the only fair way. Is just to pull some names out of the hat, because we don't want to play favorites. And anyway, I'll step off my soapbox now, but I just think it's important for people to find opportunities out there. It's so fun.
Yes, for sure. And speaking of fun, one of the first items on the podcast challenge is so our podcast spells out an acronym. Is that what that is? When you use the letters, I can't remember the proper one.
Yes.
So it's pointing it out podcast, and everything starts with a letter. So O is to occupy a seat in a stitch group and a stitch club. And our good friends Deb at the Stitcher's Garden and Emily at Emily's
Yes.
Stitch, I think we're looking out at maybe some of the retreats we have done, other shops have done, and like, hey, we're missing out on all the fun. So they started a co-branded retreat called Needlepoint is Cool.
I love it so much.
The first retreat was in May of this past year, and I was so honored to be invited and to be able to participate. She said, we just want you to come as like one of our friends because you're cool.
And
So
Needlepoint is cool, and so are you.
yeah, so I was super fortunate. I also have kids that live in Chicago, so it was a really good excuse for me to go and visit my kids, go to the retreat, et cetera, et cetera. And it was their first retreat now. I think they've had one this past July, maybe. I think there's one coming up in November, maybe. Hard enough for me to keep track of my own schedule, but they are on a roll. And it was the first retreat they done. We actually did a podcast while I was there. So if you want more information, you can go back to that. But they did a knockdown, drag out job. I mean, it was fantastic. They had custom, so their colors are, because Deb's shop colors are pink and Emily's shop colors are orange.
Oh, I didn't
They
pick
have,
up on that, but all of this stuff is so bright and fun. They branded so beautifully for this retreat.
so they've got a gal that works for them that I was able to meet when I was there. Her name's Meredith. Can't remember Meredith's last name. I apologize, Meredith. But she helps them with all of their marketing and branding, is my understanding. And they pulled these together. They had special Bovair needle minders that are fantastic. I don't have that here with me. Christine Kingston came in and taught a class. The food was great. They had nighttime stitching at the hotel that people stayed at, and everyone had the opportunity to buy pajamas, and we all went down in
Oh, stop.
pajamas. Like, I had orange plaid pants, pajama pants, and some people had pink plaid pajama pants.
Stop it. That is such a great idea.
Yeah, so we went down to like one of their like meeting rooms, and
Uh-huh.
at the hotel, and we were all in like sweatshirts and PJs and slippers, and it
Oh
was
my God. Okay,
Yeah,
so now you're really enticing me. So they have also invited me, and I am desperate to go. Mary Alice, who works here in the store, is also going to that retreat. I think is it the first weekend November is the next one?
Audra's,
Pardon me?
I think Audra will be there.
Oh, fun. She's so fun too. Audra Stitches. But anyway, so yeah, there's some fun stuff going on. So, and I guess the idea is how do you find out about these things, right? So I think a lot of it is through word of mouth, and they do a pretty good job of marketing theirs. And I don't know how many people they're able to host in Chicago, but I was just invited.
Can I pop in with one thing?
Yeah.
Because I don't want anyone to be overwhelmed by this. Like some people don't have the opportunity to go to a retreat, like because
Right.
of they have small children, or they might have mobility issues, or. So technically the item says to occupy a seat in a stitch group or with a stitch club. So in this case, I'm saying this is a stitch group that I went to. So anyways, I just don't want people to, because you and I are both interpreting, there we go, this letter O in the same way. So I don't want people to be
Yeah. So that's a really good point. And I think that that's the other thing though about this list is you can interpret things a lot of different ways, which is what's makes it more accessible to do. So, but yes, and so you could do like your local Stitch Club, you could do a Zoom group. I know there's a group on Facebook that gets together maybe weekly or biweekly or something to do stitching groups. You could even sit with some friends like we do sometimes with our stitch shop owner friends and sit around and have a Zoom or a FaceTime and stitch. So yes, so thank you for pointing that out. I think that that's an important piece of information. So, but I also was invited to a new shop. So Stitching Chicks. I think I'm saying that the right way. The Stitching Chicks. Shoot. These guys, Stitching Chicks. Our pal, my pal, I guess a lot of people's pal, Jessica, and that's Carolina Bluebell Stitcher, reached out and said, "Hey, I'm trying to help this new shop start doing retreats and gatherings and things, and would you be available this weekend?" And this was about, I don't know, maybe it was 4 or 5 months ago or something, and I knew I was staring down the nose of looking at kind of a business opportunity that was going to end at about that same time. And so I looked at Stephanie and I said, let's do it. Let's go. Because I needed a chance I knew I would be school was going to start and I had this business deal closing. And so I was like, I got to get out. I need a break. So we had a fabulous time. They had, now what did I do with my thing? Oh, they had, Stephanie from Spellbound there, and she created this canvas that I should get it out of the plastic because it'd be easier to see, but it's the state of North Carolina and it has their dogwood. I think it's a dogwood. I should know that. Yeah. North Carolina dogwoods right there, on the canvas. And so this was a gift for attending the retreat. And then they had a stitch guide and a kit set up to purchase. So we had a blast. There were about 20 women at that. And I don't know what else I can say. We just had a really nice, relaxing weekend of stitching. And
nice when we are, I mean, as shop owners, most of the time we're the ones in charge of the retreat, which is super fun. Don't get me wrong, but it is not relaxing.
No, it's not relaxing, especially when you're, toilet overflows or whatever happened the first time we had ours here. And so in any event, I encourage people to get out. I met new friends. I had a chance to talk to people that I hadn't had a chance to sit and talk to. Elizabeth Hurd was our table mate. I know you know Elizabeth. That's Evergreen's mom. So anyway, it's really, really fun to get out and talk to stitchers and industry people. So
just to sit and stitch is a gift.
It was, and I don't even have with me what I worked on the whole weekend. I should have brought that, but I'm almost done with it, believe it or not.
The queens of multiple projects. So
oh my God.
Item on here is the I in, hold on, there's a lot of I's in here. The I in it, which is incorporate a stitch that is new to you. Okay. So what do you have for us?
So I really like this book. It's Stitches a la carte, and there's 2 of them. There's book 1 and book 2, Stitches a la carte, and then I don't remember what the next one's called. Do you?
Stitches a la carte volume 2.
Oh, all right. So there you have it.
Yeah, no repeats though.
But what's really cool about it is that it's all tent stitches that are just arranged in different ways for the most part to create different like looks. Like, you know,
Yep.
you've got a houndstooth. So it's really, really accessible. And for a person whose brain works really well in tent stitches, it works very nice for me. So I started working on this guy, which I love. He's no, I can't remember what he's called. So this is one of the Taylor Beach designs from KC designers, KCN,
So
KC
cute.
Needlepoint designers. And he's gonna have a lot of tent stitching probably in places. And some of the stitches just like really spoke to me like exactly what I was gonna do. But the background wasn't. I'm still not sure I'm in love with it. It's an overdyed thread. It feels a little busy. But it kind of reminded me of the cap of the champagne. And I love a little like innuendo. Like,
I think it's,
you think it's gonna work?
yeah, I do. You just have to get more in there.
Yeah, and it's a pretty heavily overdyed thread that I'm using, wherever that is. I don't know. I have all my things here. I thought I did, but I guess I don't have that.
You're using lighter weight thread, and then when you start stitching the rabbit and the cabbage and whatever, that's going to look a little heavier, and it's going to balance out just right. I think you're on the
Yeah,
right
and
track.
I think I've got I'm doing some ribbon work in here. So this is going to kind of come forward and this will begin to recede. And by the way, I need a manicure so badly. I'm trying to not show my hands, but it's impossible. So for those of you who are watching, divert your eyes. For those of you who are listening, good on you because you don't have to see my nasty manicure. But speaking of that,
Yeah, we've both forgotten that part. Sorry, we always forget to delineate what we're showing. So anyway, go
so
ahead.
I am showing it's a little bunny with some champagne, and I wish I could think what he was called. It's called like something bubbles or something. Anyway, but what I am showing is the stitch is sort of, it looks like links, sort of. They're kind of like long. It's on page, if anybody has the book, it is on page 58 of the first book of the a la carte series. So that's something I hadn't done before. You have to kind of pay attention to not like drag your thread because it kind of goes in lines and it's open, but it's relaxing and it's fun and it's pretty easy to count. So there you
Nice.
go. What about you?
It's gonna be great. I actually, sorry, I'm reaching because I didn't set my stuff up quite right. I was debating two different things, and I love them both. So I'm going to show you both. If people have been following along on the podcast, I recently interviewed Timmy Schultz and Jan Dedrick, because they are teachers and book authors. And kind of like newer book authors, and their books have quickly become a couple of my favorites. So the first one that I came across was, and I can't give you a page number because I don't have it with me, but I am getting pretty close to being.
Oh, cute.
Rachel Berry, Coco the Chicken, and it's going to go on a tote bag. And this background stitch was new to me. It's very easy. It's
Sorry,
just like
get in there a little closer for me. I want
long
to see.
stitches with X's, and it just kind of looked like woven and cute, and I think it's going to be stable enough for a tote bag. So that's from the backgrounds book, which is called We Have Your Back. And I love that. And then
and it's in a really pretty green that you're doing that background. It's nice. It's like a sage.
yes, I'm sorry. See, I've already forgotten. So it's a green soy luster with a little sparkly neon rays plus. And I have enlarged, it's Coco the Chicken. It's probably about 5x4, and I've made it a little bit bigger because it's going to go in the pocket of a tote bag. So I think it ends up being 5x6. So thank you for that reminder. And then the other piece is this Ashley Dillon Davis piece. And if you guys want a little sneak peek, I actually have already filmed ahead of time.
What?
An interview with Victoria Whitson, who now represents Ashley Dillon Davis, and Liz
Goodrick Dillon.
Goodrick Dillon. I can never get the order right. Thank you. So, and I'll just throw this out there because I think there's a little confusion that Megan right here, just the majority of Susan Roberts, but then there was a piece of it that was carved out that Victoria Whitson purchased. So I just think there's some industry confusion of.
Well, that's a little confusing too. She did not actually purchase it.
Sorry, she's just has the distributorship. Sorry,
yes.
I missed.
So the Dillons still own the Dillon artwork.
Correct. And all I was trying to get to was, if you want one of the Ashley or Liz canvases, you don't contact Susan Roberts any longer.
Right. That's right.
anyways, this is a class that Liz, who works for me, and I have been putting together. And so so it is called Whimsy Santa, and this darling Santa, and there's a tree and ornaments in the sky, etc. But I was having a really hard time with this little bow at the bottom. See that little
Little
bow?
bow at the
Trying to get my
bottom.
finger
Yeah,
the
on
right
the gift.
bow.
So are you
So
talking about the tie bow or the one above it?
this turquoise
Okay,
area.
yep. Yep, yep, yep.
I went round and round on different stitches, couldn't find anything, and then I pulled out Timmy's and Jan's first book, which I discovered after I discovered the second book, which is called Pretty Stitches.
Mhm.
And on page 39 is this darling little stitch that they call Cross My Heart.
Oh,
And it
how
worked
cute.
for that bow. It was so cute. And I love a good composite stitch. So it actually has a darning component, and then which I did in Silk Road fibers. And then it has pluses and X's, which I did in a sparkle thread, of course, because I have to have sparkle wherever I can. And it was a very small space, but it was just, to me, it was the perfect placement for it.
You you really good stitchers. I do not fancy myself a really good stitcher. I am a basic stitcher and I like color and I like texture, but you and some of how you see something that will fit in that spot that you just showed, I am amazed by, and it looks really,
It,
really
it
nice.
links to really good books. We were talking before we went live that I'm a total book junkie. And there's barely a needlepoint book out there that I don't own, and barely a needlepoint out there that I don't carry as a shop, because that's where some people have like some innate creativity that just comes out of their brains. Like I flip through books. I'm like, oh, that one, that'll work. So we're going to get to kind of one of those opportunities in a minute, right?
Yes, I'm terrified, but that's all right. I'll get through it.
Okay. So we already talked about occupy a seat in a stitch group or a stitch club. There's kind of an adjacent challenge which says take a class or participate in a shop club. And what we mean by a shop club is many shops, Megan's and mine, and many, many others, will have maybe a series of ornaments, or like in this Whimsy Santa case, like it was a stitch guide that's released in segments. And to me, if you are not close to a shop or can't get into a Zoom class or whatever, you can still learn so much from a stitch guide. So I feel like when you have a guided canvas, that's almost as much of an opportunity to learn as being at an in-person or a Zoom class. So that's why we lump those together. So I know you have regular classes that go on in your shop, correct?
We do. And so the way I took advantage of this opportunity on the challenge is that in fact, it's happening right now. I wonder if I could even sneak you in. Hold on. Can you see? If you're on the audio, then you're seeing in our back room, the wall is really, really depressing right now. But every Friday morning from 9 to 11, Lauren, who is Sequin Lala on Instagram, if you're following, teaches a Beyond Basket Weave class. So what that means is that you come in with a canvas, which I did, and you say, you know what, there's a lot of opportunity for stitches on this canvas. I don't know what to do with it.
At our shop, Megan, we let the employees come for free. Did you have to pay?
No.
Checking.
So that's funny. This is a drop-in class from 9 to 11. So you can come for an hour or 2 hours or 30 minutes, whatever you want to do. And it's $10 an hour. Yeah, I don't think I paid. Darn. Thanks for asking. But I decided I wanted to do the house in basket weave just because it's so satisfying to me to do stranded silk and basket weave. And I know people think I'm nuts, but I love it. But every little element on these little 3D houses has an opportunity for like some sort of a little different type of a technique. And I'm sorry, again, I've forgotten our audio listeners. I'm holding up one of the Susan Roberts 3D houses, and it's I think it's might be the lime slice. It's a pink house with lime slices on the roof slats. But all these houses have like little, like there's a graham cracker and there's a a lollipop, and there's just ways, little bits and parts that you can kind of do interesting things. In fact, if you participate, if you are on Instagram, there's a 3D house group on Instagram, which would also count as a way to stitch along, like join a stitching group, because everyone on there is posting their pictures and kind of saying what things they did and all kinds of different stuff. So I would interpret that as a stitch group. That would be a really easy way to check that off your list. But anyway, I wanted to make this, I don't know if I can see it. So there's a little kind of circular cookie. It's one of those cookies that's like got the jelly in the middle. So by the way, as you know, as Melissa knows, as some people may not know, I do have a nice relationship with Susan Roberts now. And so I've had the chance to sit with her and talk to her about these houses. And she does a ton of research, actually. Like she researches like cookies and candies. And so these are all, everything you see on one of these is based on something that actually exists in real life. Like she doesn't make up candy, but this is one of those cookies that has like the jelly inside. I'm not sure what they're called. It'll be like a cookie, and then it has like a red or a green center. Anyway, I wanted it to look a little like, I don't know how to call it, like almost pinwheel cookie-ish.
Yes.
And I cannot remember what the stitch is called. You probably know if you can see it. It's not a Jessica, it's where you weave.
It's a woven spider.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. So you do like the spokes and then you go back through and you weave it. And it was really fun. And so it was a pretty what do I say? Like a quick and dirty class opportunity. Versus like an all weekend class or a project class or a club. But yeah, so that's what I did to check that off my list.
Nice, nice. Well, I was fortunate enough to be in one of Laura Taylor's Zoom classes for a few months earlier this year. I can't recommend her enough. She does a fantastic job. And I think if you just search Laura Taylor Needlepoint at Home, I think is what it's called, you can look at the classes she offers. She does some in person at shops. I know you have hosted her in the past. She's just really great. There is also a podcast where I interviewed her, so you can go back in history and check that out. But she has a weekly embellishment classes that she does via Zoom, and I was doing it for a while and loved it, and very reluctantly gave it up when summer came around because I just like couldn't keep up with my homework. She doesn't care if you do your homework, but you feel like if I'm going to this class every week, I should be like doing stuff in between.
For sure.
So I don't know. Have I shown this off on the podcast before? I don't know.
I don't think I've seen it. It's a really pretty lemon with a navy and white striped background. Whose canvas is that?
This is from Kate Dickerson. It's a Sally Ekman Roberts canvas with this lovely lemon in the middle. Of course, there's a little bee up here for those of you who have followed along with me at all. Bees are one of my things. I've also added my Taylor Studios monogram.
I know. Can we talk about that for a hot second? Because that is something very cool that you guys do. So do you offer a chart of a person's monogram, or do you paint the canvas, or both?
What this is, so I think the answer to what you're asking is both.
Okay.
What this particular piece is these are my initials, MDM.
And it's like a scripty connected font. It's really cute.
And I've used it, I don't know, 4 or 5 times already. It ends up being about 2 inches by almost 2 inches. And we are her exclusive distributor. You hop onto our website and you can order the chart. The chart's $48, which you're like, wait, that's crazy. But it's not like Amy, who is the artist behind Taylor Studios, spits this into a computer program. She literally artistically creates every single combination individually.
It's really
once
cute.
you have it, it's yours for life, obviously, and to use wherever you want it. And I've used mine a bunch of times. So she also does bag tags and scissor fobs and basic circles and squares and things that are all individually created, and those are done on canvas. So this is the only charted piece.
Got it. It's really cute. I like how you've put that in there. It's kind of like in the lower right hand corner of the canvas, but it's going vertically, and the piece reads horizontal. So it's fun. It's interesting.
That's kind of fun too. So these are all Laura Taylor stitches. I had done this ribbon stitch, which is in this blue version. It's kind of a woven, I think it's called woven.
Oh
ribbon.
yeah, I love that stitch. I'm doing something similar on another piece, but that's the woven. Yeah. ribbon.
And I still have, a lot of progress to make.
So
but
you're doing a different stitch on each stripe. That's fun.
the blues all match, the
Oh,
whites
okay.
match, and then the lemon's partially done, but it needs beads on it that I haven't gotten to. And guess what? I haven't touched the leaves because I think they're pretty much all 10 stitch. And as much as you love to do it, 10 stitches your go-to, 10 stitches like, if I have to for me. So
You and many other people here in my store. So I get it.
it's just, to each his own. It's whatever makes us happy in a needlepoint. And this class made me very, very happy. But my schedule doesn't allow for it right now. But
Classes are fun. And then the other way to accomplish that challenge is a club. And you alluded to that at the beginning of this. And I was supposed to touch base with my shop friends here to see I believe you can still join the favorite things club here if you want to check this off by joining a club. So the favorite things club was the Squirrel and the Snail, which is distributed through the Gingham Stitchery. And it's like the broken apart version of the song, My Favorite Things. No, I'm not. And I'm really hoarse today, by the way. I think it's because I was up late painting, which is also, by the way, I have like paint on my
don't
hands.
you have a dream of being a jazz singer? Don't I
Not a
remember?
jazz singer. That's Tony from Whimsy and Grace. I just want to be a backup singer. I think it'd be so
Backup
fun.
singer. Okay.
Or a
She
dancer.
actually was a jazz singer, but yeah. So
Yeah.
anyways, we
I just have a
digress.
dream of doing that. Yeah. But anyway, I lost my train of thought now. Oh, so my favorite things. So you can I think you can still join that club of ours. And the way we handled that club, which is I think some stores handle clubs all differently, but it was a canvas, threads, and stitch guide. You could either choose to pay for them all up front and there was like a small discount, or you could have them shipped to you, I think. I should know this. I don't know if it was once a month or if it was 6 times a year for a year. But anyway, that's how that one was handled. I don't think we have any other clubs going right now.
Yeah, we are just kind of wrapping up enrollment for one. So Patricia Sohn did these 3-dimensional pretty packages that we call packages club. Very, very traditional. They're 5 little 3-dimensional ornaments. Again, a great way to learn some new stitches. I looked at the stitches, some of them I've never done before. None of them were crazy hard. And Patricia did recommend to us that we issue them in a certain order from easiest to hardest, which I thought was really smart. I wouldn't have thought of that. So thank you, Trisha. And I think I have 1 spot left because we've already ordered the canvases. So now we're in the sit and wait situation. So I think there's 1 spot left in that. And then we're working on another one that'll probably come out in January, but time will tell.
Cool. Yeah. We also, through the Gingham Stitchery, there are clubs going at several different shops. So right now have you seen Amelia's reindeer? They are so funny. And I think what's the point is doing those.
Really cool.
So yeah, so there's all kinds of opportunities. I would say by and large, wouldn't you say that for the most part, when you join a club, it's because I think you were saying earlier, it's a great way to learn remotely. Because for the most part, a club is a situation where it's like a series of canvases and they all will come with the threads and with a stitch guide. I don't know if I know of any canvas clubs where you just get the canvas and the threads. I think it's mostly.
So I'm going to throw that out there to those of you that have been stitching for a while. Me.
Yes.
You might have some club kits in your stash. That would count too. If you
wanted to. Good idea.
Yeah, like you don't necessarily have to buy something new if you don't own anything, but I have a few clubs, like I have a Be Stitch did the Melissa Shirley Valentine's houses.
Cute.
Love them. Never started them, like shame on me. I could go on and on, but in any event, if you've got an old club in your stash, pull it out and
great idea.
Dive in.
Because you are in fact participating in a club.
So speaking of pulling things out,
oh boy,
one of our items here was to organize your stash, and your stash can be anything you want it to be. It can be your books, your canvases, your threads, your whips, like whatever your stash is. So what do you have for me?
So I kind of have an ongoing organization of my stash. I oftentimes pull out my suitcase and kind of look at all my canvases, and But what I try to do on the regular is to,
You still keep your stash like in a
yeah, it's a broken suitcase that I can't take on trips anymore because like it cracked. And yeah, I just have everything in my suitcase.
that suitcase, but I thought when I saw it, it was you were cleaning out the suitcase to put it all somewhere, but it all went back in the suitcase.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, it stays in a suitcase right next to my desk. I don't have a stitching room. I don't have an office. I don't have any place. So I have at
So
home,
sweet.
I have active canvases that sit kind of by my stitching where I am, like just in like all these different stitching bags. And then canvases that I'm not actively working on, yeah, are all in a suitcase.
So
Yeah.
funny. Okay, go ahead.
Probably even. So I probably am going to get an office in the next 6 to 8 months. And but I think I'll still keep the suitcase because it's just nostalgia. I just kind of
Well,
love it.
it seems right actually for you, I have to say.
And what's even funnier is when you open the suitcase, like you find like I think I found a piece of candy in it one day, and I found like a book I'd been missing for a while. So, it's just how I
Well,
roll. But what I don't keep in the suitcase is my threads. So all of my threads stay in these container store. I think that's a container store label.
okay.
And this is a very controversial topic. Uh, hot take. I like
Controversial.
it, well, that's what I was trying to say, like controversial. I like to store my threads by type. I don't like to store them by color. We sell them by color, and I love to shop threads by color because I want to be able to pick. But for some reason, I like to have them in their type. I don't know why. It's just how my brain works. Controversial
And as you
indeed.
know from past episodes, I keep mine by color, so we're very opposite. But you know what I'm really jealous of? Whose cute writing is that?
Julie, I know, right? So cute Julie, my visuals person, has all the labels on chalk tape. And yeah, so so
So
I've
for
only
those
given you
that are listening,
oh, thank you. Gosh, I always forget this. Go ahead.
for those that are listening, Megan has them in container store like Rubbermaid-ish bins, but
Well, I
container store
actually
bins.
think
They're
this
probably
is the
about,
shoe. This is like the shoe storage box,
and
I
it's a
think.
different size than the first pile you showed.
Correct. Yep.
So basically rubber bins, but she's put on the front labels on them like this says Splendor, Silk Road Fibers and Floss, Sparkle, and it's like chalk. Is it a chalk style pen?
It's
I
a
can't remember.
chalk pen. Yep. And
Yes.
or chalk marker, and then it's chalk tape. So then
And so it just happens that Julie, who does the visuals in her shop, has really, really, really cute handwriting, and makes me very jealous. But I knew she had done that because I've seen the signs in your shop that I knew she had.
yeah, we do the same thing with chalk. Yep. And no one writes on them except for her because I've tried before and my handwriting's terrible. So yeah. I'm sorry, I digress. Whenever I finish a project, I put all of the threads in these bins that are all stacked up. That's only just a small portion of them. They're all stacked up in the back of the shop. And then I keep my stash here, and whoever wants to pull some, or if we need to grab something for a customer or somebody missed a stitch and we try to match something, and we just try to use my stash to accommodate that. So yeah.
Nice. Well, and thread wise, you sound like you're more disciplined when you're with a project. When I'm done with a project, the threads go into my like to be filed bin. And then probably twice a year, I spend 4 hours sorting by color and tucking them away in their drawers and blah, blah, blah. But my organization thing for this year, because I don't think I've done that yet this year, probably because I haven't had time to finish anything this year because I've jumped around. But Liz, who works for me, does a segment on Tuesday mornings called Liz's Whips, Tips, and Tricks. And she needed me to find my scissor case, which then ironically enough, she got COVID and I ended up doing the segment. But she asked me to find my grandmother's scissor case because, and this kind of goes back in time to when you interviewed Tony Randall from Whimsy and Grace, who tragically lost her home in a fire, lost everything except for the clothes on her body. And I will still tell anyone that wants to listen to me that's probably one of the best podcast episodes we've ever had, and how Megan got through it without getting teary-eyed is amazing to me. Tony is a fantastic person. She was not saying her sob story. She was just saying what happened to her. And she's a fascinating woman, but she does a ton of scissor cases. And she talked about how scissor cases were just like a family heirloom that you can pass down. And I think she had one of her relatives' scissor cases. Do you remember that part?
She did. And she also said she was reminding us that even people who don't needlepoint should have a small, accessible, sweet pair of scissors to trim a thread or to, you know, whatever it is, you need a little set, a nice set of scissors. So it was a really sweet sentiment. And yes, I believe she had one, and I think she had stitched a couple, if I recall, for people that she lost in the fire. And it was just an awful situation. However, the gem of knowledge that she shared with us was gifting, and to your point that the nostalgia is the wrong word, but heirloom quality is, I guess, what I was trying to say.
So I do have my grandmother's scissor case, and it's not going to sound quite right when I say it's one of my prized possessions, but then I couldn't find it. So, but I knew it was safely stored with one of my many project bags that have partially done projects. So I went into I took a den at my house and turned it into a stitching room. It's not very big. It's like 10 by 11. It's a smaller room. And I pulled out every project bag and dug through them until I found my scissor case. But the really great thing was I have, and I know Megan as well, has historically collected the Ginger limited editional scissors.
Yes.
They're no longer available. I had like none.
Such
Like
a
I didn't know
tragedy.
where they were. I found, and then I was also feeling like I needed to get some new stitching glasses because I could only find like one pair, and I usually like to have a few different pair. So by the time I had trashed this whole room, pulled out everything, I did find my scissor case. I also sent a picture to Liz. I found 5 pairs of glasses and 12 pairs of scissors. So mine was made me get organized. I pulled out all my random tools. There were other random tools in there. I found laying tools. I found snag nabbits, like things that didn't necessarily need to be with the project that should really be more in like my tool pouch. So yeah, so that was my stash organization by default because I needed to find my scissor case. So it was really fun.
So funny. So then did you keep all the scissors out of their project bag? So now when you pick up that project, you're gonna have to remind yourself to pull some scissors too.
Well, normally I carry around a chatelaine that has, you know, all my tools on it now. So, and keep in mind, these weren't projects that I'm actively working on. They, you know, I had been at one point, and then they got tucked away because I got in the mood to work on something else or whatever. So,
For sure.
my active things still have scissors in most of them, their own pair. So, anyway,
All good.
yeah. Okay, so treat yourself to a new project. Is the T in out?
I could not resist this project. So I treated myself to a project that was exclusive to another shop because as shop owners, we have access to a lot of things, but if it's exclusive to someone else's shop, we don't have access to it. So I purchased this, maybe I'll use my book. It is the cutest little project that was a collaboration between Ann Fisher and Fireside Stitchery, is it called? Yeah, in Pennsylvania. And this little piece, it's the front of a fireplace. It's like a fireplace surround with a mantle. It says NDLPT across the mantle, and it's got some sweet greenery. There's a fire in the fireplace, and there's a lap stand and then a basket of needlepoint in front of it. And where I stitch almost always in my home is in front of a fireplace. And so this just spoke to me and I love it. And I think it's so clever. And so I treated myself to this project because it's so darling.
A stitch
So
guide?
there is not a stitch guide.
Okay.
But what I just bought the canvas from them. But then when I was on my retreat, I bought this absolutely adorable. I need to figure out where they get them because I need more, or everyone should go buy them.
Yeah.
These bags. So it's a vinyl bag with like really cute fabric and zipper pulls and zippers. So this is from the Stitching Chicks, and mine happens to be a 3-part one that's really darling. So it's like canvas, tools, and then threads for me. That's how I roll. But so I bought this to put my new project in because I pretty much have to have some kind of a bag for every project. I don't.
And you know what? I have to admit, I am a bag whore too. Like
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
love project bag. But I'll show you my project and the bag that I'm carrying it around in.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep, a Ziploc.
A high quality Ziploc bag.
Can I one up you on the terribleness of a project bag? So this project is just a bag without even a zipper. So you want to know what happens? I put it in my bag and all the darn threads fall out. And I'm like, what is the matter with you? You own a store. Get
I
yourself
know,
a
we're like
better
the
bag.
landscapers without trees sometimes. So
Well, I can only acquire so many, and I've got so many started that I think that I'm like, I cannot buy one more bag. But I did buy more bags when I was
those are really cute. I would have bought those too.
oh my gosh, they have so many of them and they're so cute. Anyway, maybe you should call Stitching Chicks and get yourself a cute bag, Melissa.
I think I might have to because I love a good bag. This ended up this way because I was at the shop maybe like probably 2 months ago. And I said to Kelly and Liz, I'm just in a stitching slump. And I find it's just like when I was in a book club. If I'm told I have to stitch something or I'm told I have to read something, I don't want to, even though I read all the time.
Yep.
And I've loved this project. I showed this earlier, the Whimsy Santa, but I had homework for it, like because I'm teaching the class and Liz and I are teaching it jointly, and we had deadlines, and that's just not fun. Then stitching becomes work. So I said to them, I'm just in a stitching slump. It's all I can do to make myself stitch this Whimsy Santa, even though I'm loving it. It was just that like because you had to.
It felt hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So they walked around the shop and they brought me 4 things and they said, you need to pick one. And these look like you and they're small and you can get them done quickly and you're going to love these. So one of the projects they brought me was this Eye Candy Santa.
Oh, cute.
So cute. And I stitched him up in like a week because
So it's done.
it's done. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. What did you do on his little pink hat?
Oh, what did I do?
What kind of thread is that? It looks, I bet you it's the hot pink glisten. Is it the hot pink glisten?
No, hold on. I'll tell you because all my threads are in here.
Oh, look, and now you have another Ziploc bag.
Yeah, see the beauty of a Ziploc bag. No, it's a swah. Look at that pink.
Oh, that's an awesome color. I knew it was one of, there's like 3 hot, like fluorescent pinks. And one of them is that Swat, Swat LJ. One of them is the Glisten and Bella Lusso. And what's funny about that is that the Bella Lusso is the Glisten with a filament.
Right, right. And I used some of the micro chenille from Threadworks for his
Ooh, fun.
hat. Yeah, so this is so again for those who are listening, it is a 4-inch round from Eye Candy, and it is Santa in very, very non-traditional colors. Hot pink hat with silver trim. And one of the things I put on here, I don't know if you can see that. I used a couple of Sundance rhinestones for his eyes.
Oh, fun.
Liz and Kelly were like, that's gonna look ridiculous. And then when I got it all done, I placed them on top and I'm like, nope, I think it looks pretty perfect. And they agreed. So
yeah, it looks great. It wouldn't work in every Santa face situation, but it definitely works on that one.
Yeah. So he's really fun. His little outfit is like raspberry and orange. And
what are you gonna do? Is that a gift?
Well, you know what? One of the things that I haven't done on our list is plan your gift giving for this year, which is terrible because I'm going to leave myself up a creek. I'm probably going to have to do some self-finishing things or et cetera, because most finishers can't get things done for Christmas by now. So I was maybe making this one my husband's Christmas ornament, but he's super traditional. So I don't think he's going to love an orange and pink Santa. He's going to think that's weird. So I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with that, but it was really fun. And
you bought yourself a new project and you got yourself out of your slump.
Yes. And I'm waiting for a restock of that canvas. If anyone happens to be listening and says, oh, I ordered that, why don't I have mine yet? Because I haven't gotten them yet. So apologies for that. Okay. The last item is really a segue into our next challenge update, which will be whenever Megan and I get around to it. But one of the things is to play Stitch Roulette. So that is the P in podcast. And we've done this prompt before and it was really fun. Haven't we done this one before?
I think so.
Yeah. And I thought so too. All of a sudden I had a doubt. So the whole premise of it is that you go to a stitch book, and I've buried my stitch book now. I had it right by my side. What did I do with it, Miss Megan?
Well, I don't know, but you better find it because this is where I'm terrified because you're going to pick a stitch and make me do it. And
So yeah,
and-
so the point is you can do this on your own. You can just open a book and pick a stitch and then use it on your canvas. And that's what it
Stitch
is.
Roulette.
Just had
It's
my
where you open the book and you find a stitch and
Yeah,
then
buried
can't.
I buried it under my Ziploc bag. So in this case, like I just showed off this cross my heart earlier, I might flip open to this page and say to Megan, okay, this is in Pretty Stitches. And I happen to know she has that book, and this is on page 39. And when we reconvene, we being Megan and I, we'll each have had, see now, hopefully this won't ruin it for me, Megan, because now I have homework again. And we just said what homework does to me.
I know.
That we will have used that stitch somewhere on a canvas. So,
So what book? We didn't talk about what book I'm using for you. We only talked about what book you're using for me.
I know. Well, I hope you're not going to give me stitches a la carte. No, don't make me do it.
Okay, I have an idea. Okay, go ahead. Randomly select mine, and I have an
Okay.
idea of how we're gonna do yours.
Okay. This, I think this is really cute. This is on page 9 of Pretty Stitches,
Oh boy.
and it's called background number 2. And
Okay.
basically it's an open stitch, so you'll be able to see some of your shading through on whatever canvas you're doing.
I just took a photo of it. So I know
And
what I'm
it
doing.
has scotch stitches and tent stitches kind of in lines. So I think
Cute.
it's really pretty background. And what they do in this book too is they have different colors, meaning you could do all of this in the same thread, but I think they're suggesting you can use 2 different threads or all the same thread. It says stitches background 1 line at a time vertically. So you're going to go down vertically, but you might want to do your tent stitches in something sparkly and these in something like silk or vice versa,
Okay.
etc. So
Okay.
I think it's a very easy stitch to find something appropriate.
Yeah, I'm just looking around to see if there's anything I've already shown her, if I have to, pull something else out.
Open the suitcase.
Open the suitcase, indeed. Okay, so how many pages are in that book?
And Pretty Stitches.
Yes.
Well, the stitches are only on the odd pages.
Okay,
So if you're going to say you're going to pick a number,
I'm gonna pick a number.
1 through 137. It has to be an odd number.
Let's choose 123. 123.
23. Wow, I feel like my life is in the balance here.
That's what I'm saying. It's terrifying.
Oh, this is a good one. This happens to be Tide Pavilion.
Ooh.
And Timmy and Jan's comments is on the stitch, you can do the blue tie down stitch or not. Look to use the stitch on clouds, baskets, and clothing.
Okay, let me see it.
My stitch. So it's like over 2 over 4 over 6 over 4 over 2. So you end up with some diamonds. And then there's a tie down stitch across just the middle stitch.
Okay. Well, that's yours.
The full coverage stitch. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, I actually think I have a spot I could use that. I might try that too. So by the way, can you show that cover again? It's the Pointer sisters are the authors, and it's the
Pretty Stitches.
Pretty Stitches. And I believe that both of us, Melissa's the book hoarder. I'm sure she has it on her website. I think we have it on our website too. So if anybody's interested in that one.
And speaking of which, you ready for some like hot off the presses knowledge?
I think I might know it, but go ahead.
Her third book is just published.
It was. Okay, I knew she was coming out with one. I thought that's what you were going to say, but I didn't know when.
It's kind of, let me think of the name of it. Gosh, I've already put it on the website, so I should know the name. Let's fill in the blanks.
Oh, how cute.
They have cute names, and they all have this cute little heart on the cover, and they're different colored hearts, I believe. but it's gonna basically be like categories of stitches. So,
Love
and it's
it.
a little bit longer. It's a couple more dollars, but they're fairly, what I like about these books is they're like the size of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
They're small, easy to carry around, and I think these are normally $44, $42, something.
I don't
And the
know.
next one's like a couple dollars more. I think it's 48. So anyways,
Awesome.
that's I'm really excited. They'll be here next week, and I already threw it out for pre-order on our website because they're my new like little obsession with books. So I'm
Awesome.
thrilled that I found them. So
I don't have a pre-order going, but order from Melissa or give us a call.
there you go. Yeah. They're just great little books. So
It's
love them
awesome.
all. The background book is fantastic. So anyway, that's that. So we both have our homework for the next time around.
Indeed. And so I'm actually thinking there's a chance the next time around will be the last time. So at the end of the year would be my guess, because I'm not sure we'll have time to get two more in. So
We've
it'll be
got
the wrap
cover-
up.
and
And
we've
pardon
got
me.
so we have to cover market, and we've got other designers and vendors on our horizons. So yeah.
For sure. All right. So this was fun. So if you are just finding us for the first time and you are watching us on YouTube, please hit subscribe. We appreciate that so that we can continue to get the word out to other stitchers. If you are listening to us on an audio podcast, thank you for persevering, because we did a pretty crummy job of describing things, but we're going to continue to get better about that. And we're glad that you found us on the audio platform. So if there's ever anything you want to see, just as a reminder to you audio listeners, if you're just here for the first time, we are on YouTube, and you can always reference that if there's something you want to see. So
sure.
thank you for listening. Thank you for playing along if you're playing on the challenge. And we gotta let Melissa go so she can get out to that pretty lake.
Yeah, it's out there.
All right, girl. Well,
Good to spend time with you.
you too. Talk to you
You
soon.
Bye.
Bye.